Hi friends, good evening. Welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by NEO IAS. So today on 18th March 2019, we are going to discuss the topics National Green Tribunal, then India's foreign trade, solar tsunami, Lokpal, Khanderi, current affairs capsule, and our daily sessions of map aided program and PQRS. So our first topic is National Green Tribunal. So it's a topic from government initiative. So the NGT, it acts tough on air pollution and it directs 6 states to submit action plan by April 30. So let's see what is this NGT. NGT, we know that it's National Green Tribunal. It was established under the National Green Tribunal Act of 2010. And it has been established for mainly two things, that is effective disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forests and other natural resources institution. So mainly it was built for cases relating to environmental protection. Then the second thing, it is also for the enforcement of any legal right relating to environment and also giving relief and compensation for damages to persons as well as property. These are its basic aims. Then, and we know that it is a specialized body to handle environmental disputes. And this tribunal, it shall be guided by the principles of natural justice. And the tribunal shall not be bound by the procedure laid down under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, but it should be guided by the principles of natural justice. Okay, and its the disposal period of its application is finally within 6 months of its filling. Okay, so its disposal of the application is finally within the 6 months of filling of the same. Clear? Then let's see about its constitution. Currently there are 10 expert members and 10 judicial members, and it can be maximized up to 20 members, and we know that the chairperson is the retired judge of the Supreme Court. And another thing is that each bench of the National Green Tribunal, it will comprise of at least 1 judicial member and 1 expert member. Okay, so there are 10 expert members and 10 judicial member, and each bench should have 1 expert member and 1 judicial member. And New Delhi is the principal place of sitting of the tribunal, and Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata and Chennai are the other 4 places of sitting of the tribunal. So the main place or principal place of sitting is the New Delhi. Clear? Then it has the power to hear all civil cases relating to environmental issues and also questions that are linked to the implementation of law listed in Schedule 1 of the National Green Tribunal Act. So there are 7 things which are included under this one. Let's see. These include the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, then the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Act 1977, then the Forest Conservation Act 1980, then the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, then the Environment Protection Act 1986, then the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991 and the Biological Diversity Act 2002. So it includes cases related to these 7 things. Okay. So it means that any violation pertaining only to these 7 laws or decision taken by the government under these laws, they can be challenged before the NGT. Then another thing is it has not been vested with powers to hear any matter relating to the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, then the Indian Forest Act 1927 and other various laws enacted by the states which are related to forest, tree preservation, etc. So, even though it consists of environmental related issues, these acts are not included under it. Clear? Then, with the enactment of the NGT Act, the civil courts, they cannot hear matters related to the environmental issues under these 7 laws. So, earlier it was a civil court. So, after the enactment of this NGT Act, the civil courts, they cannot hear matters related to environmental issues under the 7 laws which the NGT is empowered to deal with. Our next topic, that is India's foreign trade. So, it is a topic from economy. So, why it came in news? Because the RBI press release on the India's foreign trade. Okay, let us see more details. That we can see here the India's overall exports, that is both merchandise and service combined, in April to February 2018-19 are estimated to be USD 483.98 billion. So, we can say that it is a positive growth of 8.73% over the same period last year. This is the case of overall export. So, when we are considering the case of overall import in April to February 2018-19, it is estimated to be USD 577.3 billion. And it exhibits a positive growth of 9.42% over the same period last year. So, in this flowchart, you can see first one is the export status. Please study these small things as drugs and pharmaceuticals 15.1%. So, this is the export status related to these 5 things. And in the second one, you can see the import status related to other 5 things. Okay. So, we can conclude that the overall trade balance, we are taking the merchandise and service together, then the overall trade deficit for April to February 2018-19 is estimated at US dollar 93.32 billion. As compared to, so earlier that last year, that is April to February 2017-18, it was estimated to be US dollar 82.46 billion. Then coming to our next topic, that is solar tsunami. So, it is a topic from science and technology. So, why it came in news? Because the solar tsunami can trigger the sunspot cycle. Let us see. We know that the solar tsunami, it is a hot plasma wave reaching across the sun's surface. Similar to tsunami, it is a hot plasma wave racing across a sun's surface. So, it is also known as Morton wave, and there is a technical name. The technical name is fast mode magneto-hydrodynamical wave. I will repeat it once more, fast mode magneto-hydrodynamical wave or MHD wave. That is its technical name. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, that is SOHO, it is a joint project of international cooperation between the European Space Agency ESA and NASA. They discovered this solar tsunamis in 1997. Okay, so this SOHO, it is a joint project of both ESA and NASA. They discovered the solar tsunamis in 1997. And then later, this NASA's Solar Terrestrial Relation Observatory, that is STEREO, they confirmed their reality in February 2009. And they got its name after the Gail Moreton. He is an American astronomer and he is the first person to spot them. that is in 1959. Let's see how it is formed. So, they generated by a solar flare. Actually, it is generated by a solar flare, and it's a chromospheric signature of large scale solar coronal shock wave. Okay, and how it is formed is, we know that there is extreme temperature and pressure conditions in the sun surface, and sometimes they prevails 20,000 kilometers below the sun surface, and as a result, it causes the material to form a plasma consisting primarily of the hydrogen and helium. We know that the sun surface is excessive in helium, and here primarily a hydrogen and helium is formed, which is in the form of highly ionized state. Okay, and they also hurls a billion-ton cloud of gas into the space, and as a result, they sent a tsunami racing along the sun's surface. And so, I have told that there is a highly ionized state inside the sun surface, and this plasma, it is confined with huge magnetic fields inside the sun. And as a result, what happens is that the sun's toroidal magnetic field, so from which we know that from this toroidal magnetic field, these sunspots are generated. I will explain that one. And these sunspots which are generated, they wraps around the sun in the east-west direction. This is how it is formed actually. Let's see what are the sunspots. They are darker, or sometimes you can say cooler areas on the surface of the sun, and they are most probably seen in the region called photosphere, and this photosphere, it has got a temperature of 5800 degree Kelvin, and the sunspots, it have temperatures of about 3800 degree, and they look dark only in comparison with the brighter and hotter regions of the other photosphere around them. They look darker. Okay. So, this sunspot, you can see here, it consists of two parts, that is umbra and penumbra. This umbra, it's the dark portion, you can see here, and this penumbra, it's the lighter part around the darker part. Okay. And this sunspots, they can be very large sometimes, up to 50,000 kilometers in diameter, and they can caused by the interactions with the sun's magnetic field, which are not fully understood. We are not able to clearly understand that, but there is some sort of magnetic field that causes this interaction. Okay, and this sunspot occur over the regions of intense magnetic activity, and they emit big storms. These big storms, they are formed by the energy released, and solar flares and big storms are formed, and they are called coronal mass ejections, and they are erupted from this sunspot. Clear? So, this coronal mass ejections are erupted from this sunspot. Okay, then our next topic it is Lokpal. So, it's a topic from polity. So, the former Supreme Court judge and the current member of NHRC, that is National Human Rights Commission, that is Pinaki Chandra Ghosh, he is likely to be India's first anti-corruption ombudsman or Lokpal. So, let's see more details regarding the news. So, the government constituted an 8-member search committee for what? To recommend the chairperson and members of this anti-corruption ombudsman Lokpal. So, the search committee, it is headed by the former Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai, and since there is no Lokpal in the current Lok Sabha, the opposition has been seeking amendment for this act. So, the government constituted an 8-member search committee, and it is headed by the Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. And Let's see what is Lokpal. We know that it's the central governing body and that has jurisdiction over all members of parliament and central government employees in case of corruption. And it is defined under the Lokpal Act 2013. So, it defines a Lokpal as a national anti-corruption ombudsman to look into complaints against public servants. That is how it is defined under the Lokpal Act 2013. So, to look against or look into complaints against the public servants. That is its main purpose. And its main functions are to address complaints of corruption, as I said earlier. Then also to make inquiries and investigation. Then to conduct trials for the case on respective state and central government. These are some of its functions. And let's see the constitution of Lokpal. So, the Lokpal, it consists of a chairperson and a maximum of 8 members. And in that, there should be the 50% should be judicial members and the other 50% should be the other 50% of members of the Lokpal. They shall be from SC, ST, OBC, minorities and women. So, the 50% they should be judicial members and the other 50% should be from SC, ST, OBC, minorities and women. That is its constitution. And the chairperson can be current or former judges of the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice of High Court. And the members, they should have at least 25 years of experience in matters related to anti-corruption policy, vigilance, public administration, finance, law management, etc. So, they are seeking 25 years of experience. Okay. Then, let's see who selects this Lokpal. So, this Lokpal, it is selected by a 5-member selection panel comprising the Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker, the leader of the opposition, then the Chief Justice of India and an eminent jurist who is nominated by the President. Okay. So, let's see the powers of Lokpal. So, it can initiate a preliminary investigation after it receives a complaint under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. So, they can initiate a preliminary investigation. So, if they found this complaint is genuine or true, then the Lokpal can ask the government to take disciplinary action against the public servant. And they can also file a case. Then, its jurisdiction, it covers all categories of public servants including Group A, B, C and D, officers and employees of the government. So, with respect to Group A and B officers, then the CVC, he will send its report to the preliminary inquiry to Lokpal for further decision. But with respect to Group C and D, then the CVC will proceed further in exercise of its own powers. So, for Group A and B, they will send its report to the preliminary inquiry to Lokpal itself. But in the case of C and D employees, that means Group C and D employees, the CVC will proceed further in exercise of its own powers under the CVC Act subject to reporting and review by Lokpal. And another thing is that all entities receiving donations from some of the foreign source which exceeds rupees 10 lakh per year, they are brought under the jurisdiction of Lokpal. Then, the power of the superintendence and direction over any investigation agency including CBI. So, they can superintend or give directions over any investigation agency including CBI for what? For cases referred to them by the Lokpal. And it can attach confiscate property of public servants. It can attach or they can confiscate property of public servants acquired by corrupt means. Okay. So, these are some of its jurisdiction and main purpose. Then, our next topic, it is Khanderi. Why it came in news? Because the Navy is set to induct the second Scorpion submarine Khanderi. So the first one is Kalavari, and this is the second one, second Scorpion submarine Khanderi by early May 2019. Okay. Then, so this let's see more details regarding this Khanderi. It is launched in January 2017, and since its launch, it has been undergoing several trials. And the third in the Scorpion series, it is the Courage, and it was launched in January 2018, and it is in its advanced stage of trials, and it will be ready for induction by this year itself. Then the fourth submarine, it is Vela, and it is ready to be launched into water for trials around the same time, depending on the ocean tides. And then the last two one, that is Vagir and Vakshir, they are the advanced stages of manufacturing on the assembly line. The first submarine of the class is Kalveria, and the second one is Khanderi. Then the third one, it is Courage, and the fourth one, it is Vela, and then the last two, that is Vagir and Vakshir. Okay, and the entire project is expected to be completed by 2020, and in addition, the Navy, it currently operates 4 German HDW class submarines and 9 Russian Kilo class submarines. So, in addition to all this, it also operates 4 German HDW class submarine and 9 Russian Kilo class submarine. And the Navy, it had last injected a conventional diesel electric submarine, that is INS Sindhushastra. Okay, it was procured from Russia in July 2000. Then, in current affairs capsule, our topic is Tropics. So, this Tropics, it's an inter-service military exercise involving the participation of Indian Army, Air Force, Navy and Coast Guard. And this Tropics, it stands for Theatre Level Readiness and Operational Exercise. So, it's a inter-service military exercise involving the participation of Indian Army, Air Force, Navy and Coastal Guard. And this exercise, it had commenced on January 7th and planned to be terminated by March 10th. But in the background of this the Pulwama attack, its period was extended. Okay, the period of this exercise, it was extended in the background of this Pulwama terrorist attack. Okay. Then, in map aided program, we will be dealing with Curial Island, and this let's see the location of this Curial Island. It is located in the island chain known as the Curial, stretches north across the Pacific Ocean from the Japanese island of Hokkaido to the southern tip of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. So, it stretches north across the Pacific Ocean from the Japanese island of Hokkaido to the southern tip of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. So, actually there is a disputed region between the Russia and Japan, and the 4 islands which Russia calls the southern Kurils and the Japan calls them the northern territories. They are subjected of an old dispute, that is 60-year-old dispute. Let us see the 4 islands. They are the Kunashir, Iturup, then Shikotan, then the Rocky Habome Islands. These are the 4 disputed islands, and the southernmost islet in the Habome group, it lies only a few kilometers off Niburo on the Japanese island of Hokkaido. But the thing is that the Russia took control over the islands at the end of the Second World War, and by 1914 it had deported all residents to Japan. So, as a result of this dispute, the Russia and Japan, they have not yet signed a peace treaty to end the World War II. And in recent times, many negotiations between Japan and Russia are taking place. Okay. So, here you can see the Curial Island, and that is between the Japan and Russia. Okay, so actually it is a disputed region. And in prelims question revision series, our question is, the Reserve Bank of India acts as the banker's bank. So this would imply which of the following? So first one, other banks retain their deposits with RBI. Second option, the RBI lends fund to the commercial banks in times of need. Third one, the RBI advises the commercial banks on monetary matters. So select the correct answer using the codes given below, and options are A, 2 and 3 only, B, 1 and 2 only, C, 1 and 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. So we know that this RBI, it is the India's central banking institution, and it controls all the monetary policy of Indian rupee, and it is referred by the name Mint Street, and we know that it plays an important part in the development strategy of the government of India, and it is an independent apex monetary authority and which regulates banks as well as provides important financial services like storing of foreign exchange reserve, then control of inflation, etc. And the RBI is also active in promoting financial inclusion policy, and it is a leading member of AFI. AFI means Alliance for Financial Inclusion. And the Reserve Bank of India, it acts as the banker's bank. That is, other banks can retain their deposits with RBI, and the RBI lends fund to commercial banks in times of its need, and also the RBI, it advises the commercial banks on monetary matters. That's why we can say that it is banker's bank. And the main functions of RBI is financial supervision, then regulator and supervisors of the financial system, issue of currency, etc. So due to the above function, the Reserve Bank of India acts as the banker's bank. So coming back to our question, here all the three statements are correct. So our answer is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. So our answer is D. Okay. So that's all for today's session. Thank you for listening.